Bienvenidos una vez más a Puro Pinche Gol. Este es el podcast where we discuss all things Liga MX y Selección Mexicana. If this is your first time with us, my name is Adrian Cruz. I am one of your favorite tocayos, and your second favorite tocayo is here with me. Adrian, how's it going, man?
Hey, Tocayo, going well, man. Ready to talk Mexico. It's Tuesday here before the international break, right? So excited for these upcoming friendlies, Adrian. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Just a little pressure on my sinus with this change of season, right? Getting colder over here.
Same, same.
I've been dealing with my sinus being all stuffed up. But a little bummed that we don't have Liga MX this weekend. But at the same time, with a lot of expectation to see what Javier Asco Aguirre will do with Mexico against Uruguay and Paraguay. And that's what we're going to be discussing today, man. We're doing our classic preview of these two matches. Y'all know how we do it. We're going to be discussing, of course, both teams, Uruguay and Paraguay. Um, and just go over a few little details here, some information that we'd like to share with you guys, and also making our not only roster predictions but also how do we feel Mexico will do against these two teams, man. So that's what's coming up, dude. Those are the two rivals that Mexico will be facing
Yeah.
off this week. This weekend, November 15th in Torreon against Uruguay, and then November 18th, Tuesday of next week, in San Antonio, Texas. So, yep. How do you feel about those matches, dude? Are you excited?
I'm excited, Adrian. Let me tell you why. I think Uruguay always presents itself as a complicated, good rival for Mexico. A rival who, if we maybe take away the last 10 years, was usually on Mexico's level or Mexico's slightly above, but the last 10, 15, maybe actually more than the last 10 years. The last, I don't know, Santiago Forlan really brought Uruguay up in that South African World Cup, right? Um, I think Uruguay has stayed at that consistent level. And I think it's a good measuring stick for Mexico heading into the new year and heading into a home World Cup in a couple months, 6 months, right? 7 months. For Paraguay, I think that's going to be more of a let's strategize. Let's maybe not play our 11. Let's see who we can give a chance to, who we can see. Um, Try to maybe get some young guys playing, maybe get some inexperienced, maybe some players with less caps playing against that matchup. We know Paraguay is not the Paraguay, tu tío's Paraguay, right? Your uncle's Paraguay of old. So this is a chance to see maybe some new faces, younger faces in that match, and maybe get a important, maybe not so important in terms of result, but important in terms of hype and happiness to close out the year with a W, right? Team morale is what I was trying to say. But yeah, I'm excited, man. Before we really start, I want to ask the PPG Nation, man, are any of you guys going to the match in San Antonio? Let us know. We might still trying to figure out the logistics, but we might be able to make an appearance there, and we'd love to see any of you guys there, run into you guys, and say hi. So should be a fun one.
Yeah. Yeah, please let us know in the comments below if you're planning on going to the game in San Antonio. Um, we might do a cameo appearance. We don't know yet. We'll see. Stay tuned for that. Definitely, if you see us out there and you're going, come and say hi to us. We'll definitely have a blast saying hi to
Yeah.
you and just chatting about La Selección Mexicana. But before we go into a little more detail about the matches, man, um, I really want to go over the the list of convocados just to give us a quick refresher, if you don't mind, um, just so we had our reactions to the list of convocados, and you pretty much you guys saw it, but we just want to make sure that for
Yeah.
those who doesn't haven't watched it and don't know exactly who's going to be playing for Mexico, I'm going to go quickly down the list so we know exactly who's playing. So we have goalkeepers: Luis Ángel Malagón from America, Raúl Rangel from Chivas, Carlos Acevedo from Santos. Defenders: Kevin Alvarez from America, Chiquete Orozco from Cruz Azul, Cesar Montes from Lokomotiv Moscow, Johan Vázquez from Genoa, Israel Reyes del América, Jesús Gallardo Toluca, Mateo Chávez from AZ Alkmaar, Edson Alvarez from Fenerbahce, Eric Lira from Cruz Azul, Marcel Ruiz Toluca, Fidel Ambris Monterrey, Orbelín Pineda AEK Athens, Eric Sanchez América, Obed Vargas Seattle Sounders, and Gilberto Mora from Tijuana. Those are the midfielders. And lastly, forwards we have Alexis Gutierrez from America, Roberto Alvarado from Chivas, Diego Lainez from Tigres, Raúl Jiménez from Fulham, Irving Lozano San Diego FC, Armando La Hormiga González Chivas, Germán Berterame Rayados y Jorge Rubalcaba de los Pumas. Hi, before we continue, I just want to say again, no Charlie Rodriguez. So thank you God for not Charlie Rodriguez in this list. Cannot stress how happy I am about that. But this is the list of players that we can see against Uruguay and Paraguay. Going back to your comment about uh, Uruguay being the slightly tougher opposition, right, on these two friendlies, which I
Yeah,
totally agree with you. Compounding that with the fact that a lot of players from Mexico are actually featured in Liga MX, which we all know Liga MX is going to have play-in and the Liguilla coming up soon, shortly after these two matches, right?
yeah,
I really see Mexico fielding what we can consider to be a close A team, right, on this
sure.
match, and then use
Hmm.
Paraguay, just like you mentioned, for just finding out who are the players that that Elasco Aguirre is going to use as plugs for this roster, right? What I mean with
The
this
fringe
is
players. Yeah,
exactly what I mean with this is you and I know there is a list of at least 16 players, I believe, that are pretty much locked in for the World Cup. There's going to be maybe
yeah,
like six or five, maybe seven that they need to prove themselves on these matches. And I think the game against Paraguay will be the case. So, man, let's get into the details. First of all, with Uruguay, what can you tell us about that game?
yeah. And before we start that, Adriana, I just want to mention you mentioned it here briefly, but if you haven't seen our reactions video to the Selección Mexicana Convocados, check it out. It's a fun video. It's a good one. I think we brought up some good points. So yeah, be sure to check it out here on Puro Pinche Gol. But
Please
Uruguay,
do.
man, Uruguay, the first game, like you mentioned, Torreon. And excuse me here as I'm pulling up some items here on my iPad. But Uruguay has really had the Mexico's number, man, the last couple of years, right? We know that they haven't. Mexico has not beat Uruguay since 2016, when it was a Copa America here on that Centenario here on U.S. soil. But since then, they have lost substantially to Uruguay the last three matches, right? I think we said a 12-1 uh, goal difference, right? 12 goals
Yep.
scored by Uruguay, one goal scored by Mexico, 4-0, the most recent game in favor of Uruguay. And before that, it was 3-0 to Uruguay. And before that, it was 4-1 to Uruguay. So Uruguay has definitely had Mexico's number the last couple of years and the last couple of times they've played. Can this change? It's going to be a good one. I think a lot of fans of La Selección Mexicana and fans of Liga MX will have a lot to be watching in this match, not just because Mexico's playing, but a lot of players. Cáceres, we have Rodriguez,
Santiago Mele.
Emele, yeah, a lot of just players from Liga MX, right, playing for Uruguay that are going to be on display. Players that are qualified for La Liga, so it's going to be interesting to see how many minutes
Yep.
those players get, and how many minutes players from Mexico that are qualified for Liga get. But playing in Torreon is going to be hopefully an advantage for Mexico. We know and see time and time again Mexico playing in the United States. Now it's nice to see them play these matches in Mexico more often. We know why they're doing it in preparation for the World Cup, obviously. But this type of rival playing in Mexico, which we know it's going to be their three home games initially for the World Cup, it's just going to be a taster for that World Cup. So I think, man, just like super high level looking at this match, I think it's going to be a great opposition for Mexico. And I think Uruguay, although Darwin Nunez isn't playing, uh, that they have a couple players that are just not either injured or coming back from injury, not ready to play. They have some players back like Maxi Araujo from the last time that they played. Uruguay played eliminations a couple of weeks back, who was missing. Now is back with the squad. We know everybody who follows Liga MX from La Selección Mexicana knows the name Bielsa. We know Bielsa is a guy that could pull out miracles out of a hat. He also can make a show on the bench on the side of the pitch when at any random time, right? So Bielsa is the X factor here. I think he knows how Mexico plays, and it'll be a very very intriguing match watching that Bielsa versus Vasco alineaciones and just the tactics, right?
Yeah, and Mexico is facing again another South American team, and Mexico has not done great this year, not even
Yeah,
last year, against South American oppositions. I'm also intrigued to see how El Vasco Aguirre plans to counteract that. Right, as you mentioned, Darwin Nunez is not around. Federico Valverde is also not around, but
yeah, that's a big one.
with those two exclusions, I still think that this Uruguay team is definitely one or two steps above Mexico. If you go line by line, I mean, they have players pretty much around Europe and playing in El Brasileirao and Serie A, which is perhaps the best league in the Americas. So I am intrigued to see what kind of strategy Elasco Aguirre will put here. I don't doubt that Mexico will probably have more possession than Uruguay, because I think that's something that Mexico tends to do against the South American opposition. Um,
Hmm.
but what is alarming to me, man, is that over the last three matches, right, Mexico has received 11, as you mentioned, pretty much 11 goals from Uruguay and only scored once.
Yeah.
That is the biggest question mark for me here. Yes, we have Raul Jimenez back from I think from injury, but you don't have Alexis Vega, who, albeit it's not necessarily a big game changer for Mexico, definitely a step above as of right now from the likes of Chucky Lozano, right? And so I'm just I'm just I have a lot of expectation for this match on that specific front, just to understand exactly how El Vasco Aguirre adapts
Yeah.
to this opposition. Right, out of the two games, definitely Uruguay represents a bigger challenge for la selección mexicana than Uruguay, and I would love to see if the national team, Mexico national team, has the or comes out with a fighting proposition, just like they did against South Korea and Japan,
Hmm.
where they held their ground against two teams that are arguably slightly ahead of Mexico in all terms and purposes, not only in talent but also development of young players.
You're
But that's
referencing
what.
Correa and Japón when you say that?
Yes. So what?
Huh, interesting. You're referencing Japan and Korea that are slightly ahead of Mexico?
Yeah, I think so. I really think that especially Japan is definitely ahead of Mexico, not only in talent, line by line, but also in just development infrastructure of their, uh, I guess, federation, right, and development of football in general. But we shall
Interesting.
discuss that in a different episode,
Yeah.
not on this one. So, what do we expect to see in terms of a starting 11 for this match, man? Um, let's
Yeah.
start with the easy one, which is the goalkeeping situation. I think we both
I don't
agree
think we
that
have to spend, yeah, we don't have
yeah,
to spend much
Luis
time on
Angel
this, Adrian.
Malagon.
Yep.
Yep, Luis Angel Malagon. It's gonna be the goalkeeper. I'll be surprised if El Tala Rangel goes ahead of Luis Angel Malagon, which I've heard and I've read that El Vasco Aguirre likes El Tala Rangel, but I am pretty sure Luis Angel Malagon will start for Mexico. Defenders, Adrian. Um, any questions here?
Man, I wanted to ask you who do you think is your X factor for defender, man? I know we know who's probably going to be starting, right? It's going to probably be Montes. It's going to be Vasquez. It's going to be
Mhm.
Gallardo, and it's probably going to be who else? Who do you think is the fourth?
I'm gonna say Israel Reyes.
Israel Reyes playing
Yeah,
as wing back. We know
I
which we
think
know
so.
he
I
can
think
do.
Israel Reyes is gonna be playing as a right back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I mean, to counteract this Uruguay attack, I mean, we're going to need Vasquez more than anybody to be at the top of his game.
Yes, 100% agreed. 100% agreed. I mean, it's nice not to have Darwin Nunez in front of you with his pace.
Yeah.
You have Rodrigo Aguirre and Federico Viñas, um, as and Maximiliano Araujo, I guess, as the most dangerous strikers here.
Yeah.
Um, But I think that's gonna be I think this game, this specific game, El Vasco Aguirre should not try a back line of three or anything like that. I think he needs to play it safe and
I
have
agree.
the back four. And I really think that Israel Reyes is gonna be the one. I'm trying to remember from the last match against Uruguay, that 4-0 where they trashed Mexico. I can't remember if it was. I don't.
Who the
I
back
don't think
four
it was.
was?
I don't think it was Pelestri, or if it was. No, it wasn't Hernandez. There was a wing, Uruguayan wing that was completely destroying the right back on that match. Um,
Yeah, I
and
think I remember that too. Yeah,
and I can't remember what's the name of either player, but I think knowing that El Vasco Aguirre is gonna play it safe, I hope that he plays it safe and he puts um, Israel Reyes as the right back, knowing that Israel Reyes does a better job defending than um, Kevin Alvarez as of right now.
yeah,
So I think it's a no-brainer. That's the back line that we're gonna see. And by the way, the five players that we just mentioned, those are definitely locked in for the World Cup. I don't think there's
I agree.
any doubt that those five players will not make it to the World Cup, barring any injuries. Right. In the
Yeah,
midfield, dude, I think we're gonna see three midfielders here. Of course,
I agree.
Gilbertito Mora. I think if there's gonna be a match in this window where he plays, it's gonna be this one, with understanding that he is with Cholos and they're playing the play-in shortly after these two matches. So I see Gilberto Mora getting some game time here. I
Is he
think we're also
recovered
going to.
fully? You think?
I think he's able to play because it's a hand injury, right?
Yeah,
He's able to play, but again, with the caveat of La Liguilla starting or the playing starting, I think he's only going to see minutes on one match. I don't think he's going to be seeing minutes on
yeah,
both matches.
I agree.
Um, I think we're gonna see Edson Alvarez playing in the central defensive midfielder role, and I think
Yeah,
we're gonna see on the other side either Marcel Ruiz or Orbelin Pineda, one of those two, whatever Asco is feeling that day, he'll choose. The forward line, dude. Who do you think is gonna be leading Mexico on that line?
well, I think we have a locked in, right? Lobo leading that line,
Hmm.
and I think, man, I want to say that he's going to do something asco, que da asco. I
There we
think
go.
I don't know why I'm feeling it, but I think he's going to start Diego Lainez this match on one of the wingers, or the
Huh?
left side
Okay.
or right side, and I think he's going to play like a Verterame behind Raul Jimenez slightly.
Huh. Okay.
I think that could be something that's just me throwing my wild ideas out there, maybe. But it's something I think can give. We haven't seen much of that double pivot striker with Vasco. We see it
Hmm.
sometimes, especially with Quinones, but we have never seen it with these two players, and I think that would be an interesting lineup. But what do you think would be the 4-3?
I mean, I was gonna play even safer. I was gonna say, of course, Raul Jimenez. I think El Piojo Alvarado is gonna be starting, and then Chucky Lozano.
Oh wow,
Again,
you think Chuki's going to play?
yeah, I think Chucky Lozano is gonna be playing. For whatever reason, I don't know why. Like, don't get me wrong. I must. I'm not happy with this. I'll also be surprised. If I'll be more surprised if he doesn't start with Chucky Lozano than he is starting Chucky Lozano. Him starting Chucky
Oh
Lozano.
wow, okay,
And not because I think Chucky Lozano is doing great with San Diego FC. It's just because El Vasco Aguirre has this affinity for like hierarchy, right? And he, for whatever reason, gives more seasoned players a, I guess, more benefit of the doubt, or a just a like a is he's more lenient with them, I guess, in a way. So again, I just feel that he's gonna start him for whatever reason when you have the likes of Linus and Germán Berterame, who are playing at a better rate than Chucky Lozano.
Chuki,
But yeah, but this is Asco's world, Asco's ball, and he gets to do whatever he wants. It's his party, right? I agree with
and
you.
we live in
For
it.
once, he should definitely try something new. Diego Lainez and Germán Berterame sound very, very entertaining.
If anything, it'll be entertaining and something that's different that we haven't seen. But I mean, he might just play it safe, like you're saying as well. We've seen Vasco time and again. Um, more than likely, it's going to be Piojo and maybe that other factor. It could be the one that's up in the air. Could be an Irving. Could be a Diego
Yeah,
Lainez.
yeah,
But we do know he favors El Piojo Alvarado.
he does. He really likes Piojo Alvarado, and don't get me wrong, I don't think Piojo Alvarado is a bad player. But I with the absence of Alexis Vega, Chino Huerta,
Yeah.
Santi Jimenez, and what was the other? Luis Julian Quiñones. I think it's unfortunately or unfortunate, sorry, for us fans that we'll see El Chucky Lozano in action again.
Who would have thought in
Uh,
2025 we'd be
for
seeing
real,
December
dude.
2025, yeah,
For real. I
heading
never
into the
thought
World Cup?
exactly. Like I would get it if he was still playing with PSV. I would say, all right, that makes sense. He's playing, Europe, getting some European minutes, but he's with San Diego, and he's not necessarily doing great with San Diego either way. So I don't know. It just seems to me that it's just it's an easy cash grab here. Like Mexican
Yeah,
fans like El Chucky Lozano from that goal against Germany, which he's been living out from since back then. But oh well, it's been 7 years and he has yet to show himself in a better
you're
light.
right though about Mexican fans, even the casuals, know that name and know the El Chuquilosa, right?
Exactly, dude.
So I mean, it
Exactly.
is a ticket seller.
Yeah, it is. So
Oh
we'll
well.
see. That's probably why they're taking him. But moving on to Paraguay, man. Paraguay, who, yes, it's definitely and I'm sure we're going to have all the freaking Paraguayan fans over here maybe leaving us
Uh,
comments down below. We are not experts about Paraguayan football in any way whatsoever. But what I know, man, what I know, Tocayo, is that Alfaro has been doing a very more than decent job with this country, right?
yep,
And they managed to qualify and put up a good fight in the South American qualifiers for the World Cup, right? They have a very interesting team. Again,
they
I'm
do.
not an expert on them, but looking at the names and the clubs that their players play for, it's a very solid team. It's definitely not as challenging, I believe, in paper, like Uruguay. And if we look at the history between Mexico and Paraguay, right? Mexico has an upper hand with like 11 games won, 5 draws, and 5 games lost against Paraguay. Over the last 5 matches, right, going back to 2015, Mexico has won one, two, three, 4 matches, losing the last one, which was before the World Cup with Tata Mezquino at the helm of Mexico.
Yep.
And even on that match, I'll say, if I recall correctly, Mexico controlled that game and they lost 1-0. Um, I'm not gonna say that I was pissed, but it was unfortunate that Mexico lost that match. But that's just some little history behind Mexico and Paraguay, dude. What can
You
we
know what
expect
I
for this
found?
match, dude?
Yeah, I mean, real quick, what I found interesting was that they haven't played a competitive match since what 2007. It's
Yeah,
all
it's
been
been a while.
friendlies. Yeah, but no, man, what can we expect from this match, Adrian? I think you nailed it on the head on the nail there. We're not experts on Paraguayan football, but it is interesting to see a lot of these Paraguay nationals. Most of them play in South America, as we know. South
Hmm.
American leagues, Brazilian league, Argentine league, right? Some Liga MX, a couple in MLS, sprinkled in here Europeans, right? I think players to watch from Paraguay are definitely Antonio Sanabria, right? The player that plays
Hmm.
in Italia. We have Miguel Almiron from Orlando United, who's not the Miguel Almiron from years ago, but he's still a factor, I think. Diego Gomez from the EPL, from Brighton, right? He's going to be a good player to watch there in the midfield, along with Alejandro Romero from the UAE, out there chasing money. And then I forget the River Plate player, Galarza, I believe. The River Plate player is a good
Yeah,
one too,
Galarza is a
midfielder.
good one.
And in defense, we have Juan Cáceres from Dynamo Moscow, right? Who I think is a player to watch as well back there. So players, they do have players playing big leagues, players playing in big South American leagues specifically. And like you said, I think their coach has them playing well. It's going to be maybe not as easy as the record of Mexico Paraguay of recent years has shown for Mexico. I think it's going to be a good challenge, decent challenge for Mexico, especially coming after that Uruguay match. Uh, but I do think Mexico has the upper hand, and I do think Vasco should get a positive result. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be an exciting match, I think, nonetheless, to close out the year.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think this should be a better positive result for Mexico than what I expect against Paraguay. I also expect to see a lot of like rotation on the squad for Mexico.
Yep.
One thing that I want to mention in regards to the Paraguayan roster, I was reading that perhaps the biggest weakness on this team is the goalkeeping situation. They don't really have a set goalkeeper.
Yep.
There, none of them are exceptional with their clubs, anyways. And so that's why at least expect to see a goal for Mexico on this match. I don't really anticipate a goal against Uruguay, but against Paraguay, we should see at least, or we should be able to yell goal with Mexico on this one. But going back to Mexico, I think we're gonna see a lot of rotation. I would expect to see maybe a backline of three in here. I expect to see Mateo Chavez
Yep.
starting. I think we'll see Kevin Alvarez if we see a backline of three. Um, and if it is a backline of three, I think we're gonna see, Eric Lira with maybe either Johan Vasquez or Cesar Montes or Israel Reyes and Chiquete Orozco, one of those two. I also expect to see some minutes for Armando La Hormiga Gonzalez as a striker for Mexico in this match.
Interesting.
And then
Okay.
yeah, I mean I think so. I mean, why would you? I hope.
Yeah.
I really hope so. Again, I'm not a huge fan of La Hormiga. I think we gotta be. I'm just saying this out loud because I
You're going to
wanna
piss
wanna
off
make
of the
sure.
Chiva Hermanos, bro.
No, what I'm trying to say is I don't wanna hype them. Right? I think we
What does
should.
he have to do? 12 goals?
12, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's 12 goals in Liga MX. I get it. I want to see that again in a different season. But all I'm saying is let's calm down. Let's see if he matures the way that we
Yeah.
think he's gonna mature, right? Before we start
Yep.
shooting bullets in the air and celebrating that we have the next best Mexican striker there is, right? And so
That's fair.
I think we'll see him getting some minutes. I hope that he gets some minutes. It's nice to see a young lad playing for Mexico. And then I think we're gonna see, a huge rotation, as I said, with perhaps seeing what's it called, Obed
Obed
Vargas.
Vargas?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will be nice to see Obed Vargas. I think we're also gonna see Jorge Rubalcaba starting and Fidel Ambris as well. I think that again, I think this match is gonna be definitely a lot of rotation for Mexico, which
Yep.
makes sense because I really expect to see Liga MX players who are with clubs that are already qualified for La Liguilla, right? So Chivas players, Monterrey players, Tigres players, Toluca, Cruz Azul, all of them who have 20 days before their
Yeah.
quarterfinal match happening.
Non-play-in players. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I see a lot of rotation happening here, and most likely the European ones like Raúl Jiménez will be on his way back to London, uh, and probably not see any minutes with Paraguay. But that's what I expect, man. Yeah, I mean this is pretty much the preview for these two matches. Before we say goodbye and we close this episode, man, what are your predictions for the scores, right? Like, what do you expect to see, or what result you would like to see between Mexico and Uruguay, and then Mexico against Paraguay?
Putting me on the spot. Uruguay, Mexico. Uruguay, Mexico, Adrian. I think that's going to be a 1-1 draw. Um, I don't think this Uruguay squad is as strong as the squad that have faced Mexico in the past 10 years. They're missing some key players. And I think it's Mexico gets a good result in Torreon.
All right.
Mexico, Paraguay. I think Mexico wins 2-0. I think it's going to be maybe one goal each half. I don't think Mexico struggles too much in this game. Um, and I think it's going to be a confident, great final window for 2025 for Vasco Aguirre and la selección mexicana. What about you? What do you think?
Well, I really hope so. I really hope that is the case. But I'm gonna be a little more pessimistic than you than you are. I don't think Mexico wins against Uruguay. That doesn't mean that they lose. It only means that they don't win, right? I
Okay.
don't see
Hmm.
them defeating Uruguay. And against Paraguay, I think and I hope that Mexico doesn't show up with a lot of feeling overconfident, right? I don't want them to look down on Paraguay just because of history, right? And
Sure.
I think they best Paraguay by by the slimmest difference. So, as you said, a 2-1 or a 3-2 or a 1-0. But I see Mexico struggling to uh, keep up with the advantage. Like I don't see Mexico winning this easily in any way whatsoever. I think they're gonna
So you think it's
struggle.
gonna cost Mexico more effort than maybe they should?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think Mexico is gonna struggle against Paraguay. I think Mexico is gonna realize that Paraguay is not an easy game, and I really think that it's gonna. I hope that is a yet another reality check because throughout this 2025, Mexico has had plenty of reality checks, like against Turkey or Switzerland or just um, even Colombia just most recently. So
Yeah.
again, I think Mexico gets a W by the slimmest difference against Paraguay, and it's gonna be a very fought, uh, very challenging match. I think more than what many people may anticipate for Mexico. But let's. I really hope that Mexico finishes this 2025 on a good note, on a positive note. Right, that's what we all
Yeah.
expect. And this is it, man. This is the end of our preview of La Selección Mexicana and the two upcoming matches against against Uruguay and Paraguay. Again, Mexico plays against Uruguay this coming Saturday. We're recording this Tuesday, November 11th. Mexico plays Saturday, November 15th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then on Tuesday, November 18th, 7:30 Central Standard Time. Let us know if you are planning to go to the game against Paraguay in San Antonio. Make sure that
We might see
you
you there.
yeah, we might see you there. Make sure that you pay attention to our social media, to our videos here, and yeah, if you end up seeing us in San Antonio outside of the stadium, come say hi, take a picture with us. We're more than likely we love to have a conversation with y'all. We'll be doing some stuff out there, maybe we don't know. Stay tuned. But man, Tocayo, this is it. Thank you so much for joining me today. Oh, before I forget, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on notifications. Also follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not
Yep.
least, also find us on Instagram and TikTok. We post memes, latest news, and shorts of our episodes. Alrighty. Um, Great episode, man. Thank you so much. And I will
Always
see
a
you in
pleasure.
the next one.
See you, brother.
Take it easy.